All right. Well, here's the deal. I'll let you go first. How many goalkeepers do you have in your depth chart? Were you able to put into your depth chart?
I got 5 on there right now.
So do I. I think we probably have the same five. Why don't you go from five to one? Let's
I
make it
bet we
even.
have them in different orders though.
I bet we do.
5 to 1. All right. Might as well start off this episode with a bit of a hot take here. But I'm actually going to change my mind.
Boo.
Just start off the episode with changing your mind. At 5 right now, I've got Slanina. So originally I wasn't gonna have him there because I just swapped him with the guy I just moved up to fourth. But obviously Gaga's got massive potential. Kind of cautiously optimistic with his move to Chelsea because we saw how that happened with Miazga. And I really don't want to see that massive potential he has just get wasted. And we're seeing a lot of American goalkeepers go over and play backup in England, and I feel like it hasn't been great so far. So I think he started off the season red hot for Chicago. He cooled down a little bit, but obviously he's still incredibly young, getting game time week in, week out, which is super important. So he's 100% on my depth chart. He's only going to move up more. I was very tempted to put him 4, but I think I want to drop him down a little bit because I think the guy at 4 has more experience with the team recently. And that guy is Ethan Horvath. So I've gone with Ethan at 4, which probably is getting the Euro snobs really riled up right now. We're starting it already. Um, and I think I'm going to mention my 3 as well. At 3, I've got Sean Johnson. So I went with Sean Johnson over Horvath because I think Sean Johnson's had a really strong year this year. And Ethan is currently playing with, I believe, Luton Town in the championship, um,
Correct.
who are sitting in 18th right now in the championship. Granted, looking at the goals and goals against, it doesn't really look like it's his fault majorly. They've only conceded 8 so far this season. It's really, that's not anything to do with Ethan. It's not like he's just letting goals in left and right, but still, he's playing in a team that's struggling a lot in the championship, whereas Sean Johnson's playing for a team in MLS that is in the playoff hunt, obviously, like strongly in the playoff hunt. High,
Struggling in the playoff hunt, might I add.
they're comfortably in there.
Four
They'll get
losses in their last 5 games.
they'll get their spot soon. They'll still make the playoffs. Uh, but yeah, I think Sean Johnson's had a really good year. I think if Horvath gets a good run of form and Luton starts to move up the table, I can definitely see him jumping Sean Johnson at some point. But I think the fact that he's been playing week in, week out, like every single season, he has experience with the national team. I give him the slight nod over Horvath right now. I mean, realistically, I don't think either guy is going to end up playing in the World Cup. It's really just a matter of like who's training with the team, who's there in case we absolutely need it. Um, so yeah, I got Sean Johnson at 3, Horvath at 4. Then the top 2, it's between Stefan and Turner. For me, this was pretty easy right now, just based on form. I've got Steffen at 2 and Turner at 1. I think recent national team form was the one that tipped it for me. I think Steffen has struggled in the last couple of games playing with the national team. Struggled enough that I think he opened the door for Turner, and I think Turner's done enough in his chances to lock down that number 1 spot at the moment. But we'll see what happens because Turner is now playing backup at Arsenal. I don't know how much game time he'll have going into the World Cup. I think maybe Steffen gets enough game time, gets a really good run of form. He takes that spot back from Turner, but I think it's going to be pretty tough.
Didn't you say that we had it at? All right, first of all, give it to me in order. We got to do it for TikTok.
Okay.
Give it to me in order, 5 to 1.
5 to 1. Gaga Slanina, Ethan Horvath, Sean Johnson, Zach Steffen, Matt Turner.
I thought you said we had them in different orders.
Well, because I originally had Gaga Slanina over Horvath, but I changed my mind on that.
We have the exact same order, sir.
Nice.
I've got Gaga at 5, Ethan Horvath at 4, Sean Johnson at 3, Zach Steffen at 2, Matt Turner at 1. Basically, for all the things that you said, Gaga's got potential, but is playing in a Chicago Fire team that should be, winning the Golden Boot race, up in sixth place in the playoffs. Should be, but they're not right now, which is okay. Ethan Horvath, I think, is just a step below um, the other three. He's played for Luton Town. He's only had 2 clean sheets in 8 games, conceded 8 goals in those 8 games. So, um, it's not like he's leaking goals, but he's just not at that level yet. Sean Johnson, um, obviously in that NYC playoff hunt. If you watch him play, you know that he is the reason they are still in the playoff hunt. Very, very good player. Um, Not as good as Carlos Cornell, but that's besides the point. Um, Zach Steffen and Matt Turner are 1 and 2. Obviously, they always have been. We've talked about it since, gosh, all the way back in 2021. And I mean, Matt Turner is the backup at Arsenal. Zach Steffen is the starter at Cardiff City, I think or no, Middlesbrough, excuse me. And he has not, Zach Steffen has not lit the world on fire at Middlesbrough. He has his mistakes. He hasn't, it's not like you're seeing these clips of him saving, everything and anything. Um, and while we talk about how important it is to have good form coming into it, the lack of bad form is also important, right? So you've got like good form, you've got bench, and then you've got no form or really bad form, right? And that's a level, that's a scale there. So if you're coming in with bad form, it's almost worse than putting somebody in who doesn't play week in and week out. So I'm with you there. I go with Matt Turner. We probably should have said beforehand too, because we wrote it down and we talked about it. Our judgments over this, what we're doing, it's what club team you play for, how many times you are playing for that club team, the performances that you are having for that club team, like we mentioned, Zach Steffen not lighting the world on fire for Middlesbrough, and your recency or success with the national team in their history. Um, when we talk about what club team, it isn't Euro snobism, so we're not going to say, "Oh, you play on Arsenal. You're clearly better than Sean Johnson at New York City because he plays in MLS." That's not how that works. Matt Turner is just a better goalkeeper right now. Question.